I will give you pain. Let's see if we knock it off.
I don't know what it's like. It could be
Welcome you all to our meeting tonight, November 13th, 2024, to discuss the proposed concept plan of Memorial Field. Mr. Conte, can I get a roll call, please?
Ed,
Here.
Greg. Yep. Dewey. Here. John.
Here.
Sarah.
Here.
We have 5 present.
Thank you. Could I ask everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, everyone. We're going to get right to it. I'd like to turn this right over to our Borough Administrator, Mr. Mike Casali, to my left.
Good evening, everyone. Great to see all the young kids here. How you guys doing? Excellent. I want to thank you for joining us this evening. We know that people choose to live in the town for 2 or 3 different reasons, but the top 2 are the quality of schools and the access to sports and recreational fields. I am pleased to share that we have received the DEP approval for Centennial Field and secured the funding. Thank you. The cost was to be about $600,000, and the actual bid came at about $377,000. The construction is underway and actually started today. They started to move the equipment today. We expect to complete the project by late December 2024 this year. The field will be ready for use by May 2025, and it will be turned over to us after they do 5 cuts. They cut the grass 5 times, and we will have a professional maintenance plan to ensure that it stays in top shape. Before we dive into the discussion for Memorial Field, I'd like to take a moment and recognize our mayor, Mayor Scheinfeld. Guys, good clap. And we have several council members. Also, we have Council President John Escobar, Councilman Bob Coletti, and Councilman Clemente Oso, Councilman John Rucco. I didn't miss anybody else. Okay. My role this evening is very simple. It's going to be very easy for me. This is to present a preliminary plan for Memorial Field. We tasked our engineers, Mr. Carl and Nick, to develop a proposal with a specific footprint that would not require a DEP permit. So whatever is approved by the mayor and council, we don't have to go to get a DEP permit. We have the funding in place. We will start the process right away. The plan includes a turf field, lights, expanded parking, space for future sports facilities, and a playground. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to gather your feedback on this plan. All comments will be collected and shared with the Recreation Commission for further refinement. Once the plan is fine-tuned by the Commission, it will be presented to the Field Committee, which consists of 3 council members, John Escobar, Bob Coletti, and Clemente Uso, along with the Borough Administrator, the Chair of the Commission, Mr. Ed Grill, and the Rec Director, Dan Conti. The Field Committee will then review the plan, make adjustment to it, and then present it to the Mayor and Council during a public meeting. At that point, the Mayor and Council will decide whether to move forward with the plan as is, make changes to it, or choose a different course. If the plan does move ahead, an ordinance will be introduced to fund the project. It will be first reading, second reading. I know it sounds like a lot of meetings, but that's local government. There will be multiple opportunities for the public to speak on the record. There will be at least 4 times. So today is taking your feedback, take it to the commission, take it to the committee, and then take it to the council. At the council, at the mayor and council level, is when everything is recorded and all your comments will be taken, and that's when you can, based on the final plan that they say we will move forward with, is when you can make your final comments there. For tonight, neither I nor the Recreation Commission has the authority to approve anything. If you have concerns, such as not wanting turf field, your feedback will be noted, but we can't debate it. I will quickly go through a few slides and then turn it over to the engineer where he will take us step by step through the plan with a detailed presentation. And then we will open it up for questions and comments. We will have to limit our discussion until 8:30, so we have an hour and a half. I encourage you to reach out to your council members and to the mayor offline if you have more comments, and let them know your thoughts. That's why they make the big bucks. I'm also always available to speak with about the fields or anything else that pertains to the town. I have done this in Montville twice. We have Fieldstone, which is twice the size of this field, and at the Trenta field. It's an easy and simple process if we actually follow it. So we just want the feedback on this, take it back, let them do their work, and let the council do their work. If you don't want to speak in public with your comments, there's a form on that side. Send back to me to the list. Well, let me just go. There's a big demand. So the registered soccer players, of course, we have 150 registered. Baseball, 450, men's, women's softball, about 100. So all in all, about 1,500 players, their families and friends. To actually take this field and make it move forward, it will have the playgrounds, the field house will be renovated, a new basketball court, the bleachers, the parking lot will have more parking lot. The lights, and we have a slide on what kind of lights we're looking at. It will give us more practice time, more games, and that's all the different sports. We do have a slide later on if you do have any questions on the cost of the turf versus the grass. It's directional, it's not specific, but it will give you an idea of how much it will cost per hour per game if you play on turf versus natural grass over a period of time. This is just as is, and Carl, you want to take it from here?
Sure.
You want to stand there?
Good evening, everyone. My name's Carl O'Brien. I'm with Colliers Engineering and Design. Thank you, Rec Commission, Mayor and Council, public for coming out. Big project going on here that we're looking at. So what we were tasked to do, what Mike said, was to come up with a concept that works, that we can take the field use that's out there now and improve upon it and add some other aspects to it as well. So your existing field right now is you have the 2 baseball fields where the 1 baseball field plays into your football area. So what we wanted to do was take that and revamp this whole area so that we could have multi-purpose, multi-sport, and have some passive recreation as well and some other athletics around the other side of the field. So this is what's there today. If you can go to the, all right, so what we're looking at right now is the concept that we came up with changing everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from the southern portion where you're coming in off a Hopper into a new parking lot that's going to be in there. You have a walking path as well going around. The new parking lot sits about 60 parking spaces. That'll be ADA accessible as well. And it's just changing the location of where everything is right now. Because if you're familiar with the area, the parking lot actually runs along the field house. We're moving it off a little bit so we can make up some more room so we could put some other activities in there. Walking around the entire field we'll go counterclockwise. You get on your walking path, and walking around it, you're going to have the scorekeepers area for baseball. We have 2 baseball fields that play diagonal to each other, dugouts for both sides. Keep walking around. You're going to have 2 batting tunnels for baseball, softball that you have. Basketball court, keep going north. We were also able to fit some pickleball courts in there and an area to the north of that reserved for a playground area. So it has all the sports around the outside of it. As you continue to go north and around the Hillsdale Avenue, we pick up some more parking right along Hillsdale. So you're picking up I believe it's about 20 spaces along Hillsdale. You keep walking around the back end of it. You have another scoring area for baseball and right behind home plate. And just keep going along the slope area. It's walking you down towards the field house, the existing field house, right at mid-court, of the football soccer field area. We're going to have another area there for your coaches' scoring area and bleachers throughout the entire park. Looking at your field itself, the field is going to have multi-sports. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to fit both Little League Baseball with the 40-60 bases, and then the step up from that with the 50-70 bases. So Little League for 40-60 can play on this field, and that is that 200? Yeah, so this one has 200-foot home run area for the Little League, and then when you flip over to the larger one that could play 40 or 50-70, it's 225. So we're able to play both sports, both age groups there. As far as the field sports go, we have football laid out, a full-size football field, full-size soccer field. So we're able to fit. We're going to be playing at the same time. At the same time you're playing baseball, but you have uses throughout. Scheduling is going to be important with this. So that would go through the, I believe, rec department for scheduling for field use. So that's with the field and the usage with it. Also, we looked at the possibility of lighting the field as well, so you could light the field too. So to light a field like this, you're going to need anywhere between 8 to 10 light poles throughout the entire complex. And that'll be able to light the field with it so that you could have field usage and play time. The lighting systems that we're looking at for this, and we're not in there yet, it's only a concept plan, but the lighting system in there is utilizing LED lights. The lighting technology today is a lot different than some of the fields that you've probably played on or you see your kids play on, where it has, when you drive past the field, it has that halo effect in the sky. These do not. They're more of direct light that shoots down on it. It uses less energy and it has less spillage. So that's what we're looking at. This is an example of what it is. This is more at a larger level for high school, but that's the technology that you're looking at for this. We were looking at also turfing the field. Now, picking the exact turf or the infill or anything that was not part of this task right now. But the reason why we had it laid out like we do is because when you play on synthetic turf fields, the downtime for the field is minimal, if any. Whereas if it's a full grass field and it's full sports all the time, you need to actually rest that field. if you don't rest the field is going to basically not be in existence anymore, no matter how long you maintain it. So that's a big difference between the synthetic turf versus natural grass, is the playability of everything. This is just one company that's out there, and just some pictures from them and what they do. That's the overall game plan of what we're looking at with things, and we'd appreciate your input and questions, and we'll take notes.
So before we turn this up to the public, we are going to be using a co-op. This is very much like when we do our paving, we use a co-op, so we don't have to go to bid. They are vetted, contractors that once we say go, we can go to the contractor, and then we can do that. I want to share one slide before we turn it over to you, as far as the turf versus the natural grass. So this is just a directional for a small field that could be similar to this field, but the base to prepared is $150 versus $320,000 for the turf. The material, which will be the piping and all that, $275 per square foot versus $5. The turf, they have to go deeper, more piping, of course. The maintenance plan, $20,000 for the first 10 years versus $5,000. The $20,000 in discussing it is actually very low because for Centennial, $1,000 to maintain per year to maintain natural grass. So $20,000 is actually on the low side. The scheduling possibilities, you're looking at 6,000 versus 29,000 hours per hour in per use per field. Is that by any means? I just wanted to share that. The slide in here, and then if you, so we are one big family. We can try to be as courteous and as direct as possible. You have a question, you have a comment, we will take it. If you're going to go off topic, I'm going to try to bring you back nicely to the topic. We are focusing just on this plan. We really have no authority to do anything else tonight. If you don't like the turf, you can make your comment, but we're not going to debate turf versus natural lights, no lights. They are paid to be here to go over this. The light poles, these, right? Yeah, these are the lights. Yeah, okay, we missed that. So, all right. So we are on YouTube Live, and all the comments will be recorded, and then will be taken back, as I said, to the Recreation Commission. We do need to use the mic. So if you want to speak, just step up. Just first name, last name. If you can take a minute or two, that'll be great. We appreciate all that, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much. My name is Dan Bertelli. I'm a 10-year resident of Hillsdale. Thank you so much for your work. I think this is a great plan. I have one comment on the presentation. I heard the word baseball about 10 times and the word softball once. So I implore you to please keep the girls in our town in your hearts and minds, because there is a difference between the two sports. And for many years, I think softball has been taking a backseat to baseball. So please consider the girls. Thank you.
That's a great point. And so for the Little League baseball and softball, they both play on 40-60 diamonds. So with that, with both diamonds, since it's a synthetic turf field, we're going to have portable mounds for the boys' sports, where for the softball, there'll be portable rubbers. So when the baseball is not being played, those mounds and rubbers can be taken off the field, stored outside of field of play, so that the field sports can play, the football, soccer, lacrosse. So, but that was a great point.
Thank you.
How are you? Scott Stewart. I just had a question. Could you walk through a little bit about how you have the parking lot there? Because that area is kind of on a slope right now. So is the thought process to excavate that back up to the road? Is it to build it out because there's that property line there? Is it to then excavate kind of the existing trees that are all on that line? Or where does that fence line go in to where this parking lot is?
Good question. So what we looked at for this concept was just the 2D version right now. So as the bird flies, from looking down. This entire site will have to be regraded. There may be some retaining walls put in here and there. There will be a lot of earth moving around with stuff. The impact on the property lines, we're not going to be going over our borough property lines. It's going to stay all within the confines of our site. The entire site, wherever there's walking ability, is going to be ADA compliant so that it's going to be accessible to everybody. The parking lot, of course, will have to be relatively flat. We don't want it to be on a steep hill or anything. And then, there is, even by the northern portion of the complex, where the parking lot is and the baseball field on the top left of the page, there's a big slope over there. We don't really want to cut into it too much. We want to use the slope to our advantage and try to level out as much of this site as possible. The one thing when we design these fields is we want to move as much dirt off the site. We want to move as little dirt off site as possible and keep it on site so that we can balance the earthwork as much as we can. By doing that, we're able to save a lot of money and we're able to reuse our stuff there as we can. There will be excavation from this that will have to go because we're going to have to replace it with our drainage that has to go in, which are the pipes and the stones and everything that's going underneath the fields. But the way that we're looking at doing this is to balance it out as much as we can, and where we need to, we'll add retaining walls. I'm not looking at a 15-foot high retaining wall. I'm looking at maybe like 2-3 foot high retaining walls around here as to just catch up grades. That's the goal. We have not dove into that yet. When we get into the design aspect of this, that's when we get into the whole site grading of it. But yeah, that's basically what we're looking at here.
Hi, Joe Gallucci, resident that lives very close to the field. Just a question, and I think I know the answer based on what you were saying, but just to get some clarification, clarification. On the top left, right, the lighter green, right on the top on the left, like there's woods there now, right? It seems like that plan's going to just keep that the way it is, right? Because that creates a buffer, I guess, from the residents to the field. So are you intending to keep that kind of the woods where they are, not just knock down the woods? Okay.
Correct. Yeah, the goal is to, wherever we can, keep as much as we can there as possible. Okay. And especially as we get out to the outskirts of the buffers, keep it. It's mature, and we'd like to keep it there.
All right. Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to try and add more buffer if we have to. So let me get someone else.
Hi, it's me again, Dan Bertelli. To follow up to Joe's question, what's the environmental impact of the trees surrounding when you put the turf in? Is that going to impact the surrounding trees? It's a very wooded area that we find beautiful in our neighborhood. Is the turf going to impact the trees?
How?
The roots.
The tree roots?
Yeah.
No, they're far. Our field's going to be far off enough so that the roots aren't impacted.
Okay. Thank you.
Lorraine Thalman, 238 Liberty Avenue. Great plan, looks fantastic, has a lot of functionality. My concern is the artificial turf. There's a lot of issues with artificial turf, environmental, safety, cost. I know you're pushing it one way with the cost, but you were minimizing the total cost, all right? Say the field lasts 10, 15 years. You're going to have to remove it. Not all of it is recyclable. And the cost 10 years from now to upgrade that field again. You've got pellets coming out of that. people whose children have played on these type of fields, they come home and they have to shake their children's clothes out in the bathroom because of the pellets falling out. Not only is that affecting their children, you don't know what their health is, it's also going to get into the ground, and you don't even know if animals are eating these pellets. So it'll have an effect on the animals in the area. The surface is a hotter surface than grass. Grass breeds. It gives us oxygen. It is a safer surface for everyone to play on. What child wants to roll around on carpeting instead on that soft green grass that is cooler? I don't see the logic involved in it to put carpeting down instead of leaving natural grass that can be maintained. And in the long run, artificial turf is less impervious than regular dirt. So I really don't see the win in it. I see the win for the field, but for the material that you want to put down, wall-to-wall carpeting, not a great idea.
Thank you. By the way, the cost for this, it's an estimate. It's about $6 million, maybe 6.5. When we go out to bid, when we go out to the co-ops, is when they give us the actual real price. But we are on the high side, saying $6.5 million.
Rick Savino, Westdale Avenue. I have a few questions. First one's real simple. How will there be vehicle access to that field house? I don't see a road, and there's a bit of slope. Right now, it seems they're going to have to get trucks in and out. And can we go back one slide to the costs? Yeah, that one. What's not on this, it went by too fast, but I had to see it again. Everything I read says 8 to 10 years. You know, she just mentioned that, and the replacement cost, the disposal of the turf. It's a toxic material. It has to be handled and treated. Whatever the infill is, whether it's tire crumb or some other surface, is all special handling. From what I've been reading, the disposal cost is about the cost of the original material, and then it's a new installation. That cost is not in this chart. And whereas in a grass field, if you maintain it well, and I think everyone will agree, our fields have not been maintained. If we do like we're planning on Centennial and really maintain it, have a program with quality maintenance, the fields should hold up with better drainage. The problem right now is none of our fields have good drainage. So with the installation of drainage. And I just wanted to add to her safety comments. Both pro football and pro soccer pro soccer does not play on artificial surfaces. When Messi they kept him off artificial turf for a number of games. I think he finally started to play as he got used to it. And pro football is getting away with it. We'll remember last year when Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles tendon, there was a big discussion.
I don't care if Messi and
Yeah, but I'm thinking about my grandchildren. You know, I don't want them playing on a surface that is where there's a high possibility of injuries like that, leg injuries.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Hello, I'm Gabe Chung. I have a question regarding the parking situation. So I would like to know what the current number of spaces there are now, and being that this is technically, the same footprint, but you're fitting more activities, more sports in this general area, are we increasing parking by doing what we're doing? By what number? By 30 parking spots, so it'll increase. Okay. And just another curiosity question. So you have your scoring booths for the multiple sports. Will there be any sound systems installed? I can bring my own equipment. You guys all know I have equipment, but
So we haven't got that far into this yet. Could it be that that would be up to the rec and the mayor and council and everything? There's areas that are situated for the scorer's table and everything else. If that's something that's agreed upon, it could be designed and installed. I just don't know if it's part of the project or not.
well, it all depends on the way you look at it. I personally, I mean, if we have all the major games, like you look at all the high school fields and everything, they all have ways of announcing what's going on, and it keeps the user entertained and in the game, in the know. So I personally think it's helpful. You could look at it in other ways as well. There's downfalls. It's loud. It's whatever. So, but I mean, I like to know what's going on when I'm at a game.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you again for all your hard work. Quick question, now that we have this multi-use facility as a potential coming into our town, are we opening this out to outside sports and clubs and for financial gain? And if so, how is that going to impact the residents in that surrounding area? Because 60 parking spots is just not going to be sufficient.
If we do go out for a grant, it comes with restrictions, which means we will have to open that up to everybody. Right now, it's on taxpayers, so you're paying for it as of now. The plan is, if the number is $6 million, we have about $1.8 million in the fund. We will be adding more, but we have to go out to bond. But the plan is to pay for it internally and not have to go to get a grant and then open it up to everybody. That's the plan, but the mayor and council will have the final decision on that. Good questions, guys. Yes.
I am Fred Rubel with the Environmental Commission of Hillsdale. First, want to thank you for this opportunity to provide public input. I don't want to belabor some of the points that were made previously, but the Environmental Commission looked at the topic of artificial turf, and we concluded that this is not a good idea. We advise against it. Typically, artificial turf has an 8-year conditional warranty, and depending upon the type of use, the intensity of use, and how it's maintained, the turf will then have to be replaced some years after that. And as was said, the cost for disposal is hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then you start right over again with having to put in a new field, an additional cost. Also, you should be aware that there have been studies done, and in direct sunlight, artificial turf can be 40 to 60 degrees hotter than the air temperature above if it's in direct sunlight, which is potential for heat exhaustion and other injury to child athletes. Another point I'd like to make briefly is in the event of a severe storm, which we've been very prone to lately, extreme flooding, while design can take into account a considerable amount of drainage, but extreme events can severely damage a sports field of this turf type, and then it will be unusable for weeks, possibly even months. So you should consider that. And just from the standpoint of the consequences of safety to our young athletes, our environment, and the overall cost to taxpayers, our advice is that natural turf sports fields are a far better choice than relatively short-lived, overly expensive artificial turf fields. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, if we can just focus on the plan. So Fred, do you like this plan? Okay. Okay, all right. We want to take some feedback on the plan so the engineers and the commission can actually have some actionable items to work on. As far as the uses, there's some placeholders here. What you like to see more or less, that's what we are. Come on in, sir.
Thank you. Drew Metz, Hillsdale resident on Wyndham Avenue. Two questions. First, with an improved facility, you're going to have more attendance. And I was just wondering if it was, I know this is just a 2D view, but is it possible to move to flip the parking lot? Because the parking lot in its current position is in heavily residential as opposed to Hillsdale Avenue, which is not as heavily populated. The second part of that is with the addition of a playground and basketball courts moved to the middle and the pickleball courts on the other side, you will have people walking around the baseball or softball to get to those other options. The second question I have, and I don't know what the current field house has, but have you included restrooms?
So, yeah. We will spend some money on the field house separately.
Hi, Jim Swadek, 33 Hopper Street. My concern is a safety concern with the lights, and as you said, the lights are mostly going to concentrate on the field, hopefully not to all the surrounding homes, which my home is one of them. Hopper Street's a really narrow street, and with the games letting out at night, and there's also not a lot of light on Hopper Street, it's a real safety concern for little kids. Football doesn't really use the field anymore, but years past, I should know, I've been in town since 1989 and I coached for 14 years. But the traffic on Hopper Street is crazy, and the way people park on Hopper Street is crazy. So you guys got to come up with something on the parking, or some little kid's going to get hit.
So there's no lights now on Hopper?
There's basic street lights, but granted, I live there. I don't want you lighting up my block, obviously, too.
Right.
All right? You want me lighting up your block? Okay.
I got you.
Good question.
In addition, to add on to his, in regards to parking, there's not a lot of parking. Would it be a possibility, obviously for food for thought, do we need pickleball? Could we use that area more so for parking to address that concern rather than have additional sports there?
Okay.
Just an idea.
Okay. Yeah. Come on, man.
I'm not saying we
Well,
don't.
we need the voice.
I'm on Hopper on the corner where the mouth comes out of the parking lot.
Okay.
As it stands now on Hopper Avenue, 25 years ago, when they wanted to put the lights in, they didn't. And they put signs up for Saturday and Sunday only to park on one side, because when the parking is on both sides, there's no way a fire truck or safety is gonna come down to there. Nobody abides by it. I mean, personally, I'm like, whatever, I love the park. I think it looks wonderful, but I'm really concerned about that parking lot. My house is right across the street, and I'm also concerned about lights going up and how it's gonna affect all of us with the lights. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
So as far as the lighting goes, when we go to design, we have to do an analysis of the foot candles on how far the lighting actually goes beyond the light pole. So we're going to know what how bright it is beyond the light pole. So that's part of our design. The goal is for it not to throw light out, keep everything and put it in, and that's what the new LED lights do. And we've done them in we've designed them in a bunch of other locations as well.
I'm gonna go with my husband.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Michael and Gina Fronte, 57 Holdrum Street. This would impact us directly because we're directly across with their corner house. So lights, no matter how directed you think they're going to be, they're going to impact the entire corner. The parking is another huge issue. Having had an ambulance try to get to my house, God forbid there were parking problems, and there's always parking problems on Holdrum Street. It's a small street. People go zooming up and down Hillsdale Avenue, so you have the lights as a problem, you have the parking as a problem, and a fire truck, I couldn't even imagine. It would be a very serious thing. And also bringing more kids there and more parking. I've seen kids walk right across Hillsdale Avenue. So the parking does become an issue. You can't see them when there's that much parking. My husband is a PE. He's going to address a lot of
I have
issues.
questions. Hi, Mike Fronte, 57 Holdrum, professional engineer. My personal experience in sporting facilities includes Princeton's sports complex, Arthur Ashe, NBA, Miami Heat Arena, Cincinnati Bengals football stadium, Australian Olympic Stadium, Korea World Cup Stadium. So I am very much an expert on these types of matters. My biggest concern, beyond all the safety and all the issues we as residents and parents are concerned with, the light. Anyone who's walked into a dark room with a flashlight and shined it in that corner, things get illuminated behind. When we do a stadium, you have walls. So the light's directional, to the engineer's point, and it's focused down. You want so many horizontal and vertical foot candles. We're not doing broadcast quality, but nonetheless, you want a nice, safe lighting level. Safety lighting level. Yeah, of course. Baseball, you're going to have highlight towers because pop-ups, things get lost in the lights. We've all heard that watching any professional or amateur games. So we're really concerned about the impact on ourselves with the lighting. You know, we love it here. We're in the house 32 years today. When we bought the house, we knew where we were. You know, there's no surprise about the activity, but we are very much concerned with that. I'll be quick because I know I'm taking a lot of time here. But yeah, really, I guess that's really it in the nutshell. Any traffic control plan changes to address some of the safety issues?
That'll be reviewed while we design it. During the conceptual phase, we haven't looked at that yet.
Mhm.
But yeah, somebody said about parking on one side of the street on Hopper, that's a good suggestion.
Yeah.
You know, we'll look at all that stuff as we get through the design aspects of it. The goal is to make it better than to make it worse. So all that stuff will be looked at while we go through design.
And I don't know how you would really, how do you deal with the light? I mean, there's going to be unintended consequences with the light. It just is what it is. So, like on the west side of the field, you have the buffer with the trees and the woods. On the south side, you don't have a lot, and on our side, on the north side, there's none. So you can imagine we're pretty concerned. We very much support the kids, and we want them to play, but I saw up on the screen, I apologize for getting here late, 68 hours a week. So my question is, what are the operating hours going to be? Because 68 is a lot of hours considering the kids are in school during the day for most of the weeks of the year. So frankly, we're concerned it's going to be 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, and it's going to be like we're living in an urban area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris Martin, Washington Avenue. What's up, John? I took notes, so I'm very organized here. You said something before about not going to bid. Why was that?
So we use the car. If we go to bid, we have to take the lowest responsible bidder.
Which seems like a good idea sometimes. But
Lowest responsible, and we don't know who we will get. We've had several times where we have actually at the field house we had the new bathrooms, and we accepted the lowest responsible bid. It was supposed to take 2 weeks. It took 6 months, and we had to redo some of the work again because of that.
Doesn't always work out, right?
No.
So you said there's 60 spaces, I guess, in total. That's a 35-mile-an-hour zone on Washington Avenue as well. It's a county road.
Mhm.
And you have done no traffic assessment
yet.
at this point? Nothing's been done?
Nope.
How come 100 yards? Why do we need another full-size football field? Am I missing something? This is all youth sports.
Yeah, so we took some feedback from the coaches and from the commission, and we told the engineer that's what we want. Again, this is just a conceptual. This is the first step. If you think it should be less or more, that's what we want to hear. You think it should be less?
I can answer that one.
Let-
As the president of the Football Association, all youth football teams are. I can't hear it.
Yeah, they can't. I tell you what, yeah.
How you doing? This is Craig Cardell, president of the Football Association. All youth football teams are going to the regular size field, 120 yards, 100-yard playing field, 53 by 3 yards wide. So it is expanding, right? So right now, as it is, for our 7th and 8th graders, the width is the same as high school. Some towns cannot host playoff games or regular games because they cannot fit that. So they said, just get ready, tell your towns. It's just a matter of time for the next year or two until they just go to like the regular size fields.
I guess the last question I had was, I know you guys did a bunch of work on the field just last year. Maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. The new walkway, the new, I guess the warning tracks, all that. Was this not even broached back then that we were considering doing something like this, and that was a waste of money kind of thing, or what comes of that?
Yeah, that was done. We have the rails. Those will have to go. Yeah, some work was done.
So that work that was done is just for naught and it goes bye-bye?
Unless we can reuse some of the stuff, yes.
Okay. And you said before, I think my wife asked, it's multi-town use, and I didn't hear about the hours. It's 68 hours.
No, so that was to compare the costs. As far as the hours, we can put a curfew, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Once we get to that point, we can actually, the mayor and council can actually have a control over the hours. Yep.
Mike DiBartolo, Fairhaven Drive. Just want to know, I know this is one rendition. Is there any possible rendition that's going to have a dedicated baseball field with non-movable fences? Because at this way, you're going to be only to play baseball. There's times when we're coaching football, when we're on that field, if this could be just laid out on the existing footprint almost, where you have the ability to have, say, football practice going on, and then baseball's on their field and they're having their practice, we are going to sort of limit ourselves by doing this. And I understand that making one turf project versus having a turf field here and a turf field here is cost efficient. I understand that. I think we're just going to limit ourselves. I understand we want to put the pickleball in. I think it's great. Maybe there's just options that we can move it and expand stuff out and maybe make this happen where the existing footprint can fit that 100-yard field like Craig says, and we can go that route and just maybe do two things at one time and be able to practice. Because as we practice now, we practice on a dirt ball at Beechwood, which it's an embarrassment that we have to have games there. And we bring other towns here, and we need this, right? We need this for the town, for our kids. We just need to make it work that we can probably do the most out of it at the most at one time. Because I understand our fields are limited. I know there's future plans for future fields down the road. This is a great project for the town, and I'd love to see the money. If it's going to cost $8 million, I'd rather be $8 million on this project versus 6 here and another 6 there. All right, thank you. Great job.
Absolutely. And if you can come to the meetings when we go through this, excellent feedback. Excellent. So, take his name. I have to tell you guys, you're doing really great. When we did this in Montvale, it was a mess. So, thank you for being so cordial and respectful. Oh, yeah, better. Yes, yes.
Hi, I'm Carol Lawler, 265 Hillsdale. I just wanted to say overall, thank you so much for putting our kids first and planning out something that can not only really help all the children in town for all the sports, but also help our town and bring in different things and bring in revenue and bring in all of this stuff to keep Hillsdale being great and wonderful. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Let me see if someone knew, and then we'll come back for a second round. Yeah.
Glenn Gauss, I'm at 33 Lincoln Terrace. That would be the third lot down on the right. I do have where we can put that basketball field. Right now, the basketball courts are used at all times of night, and just know that the noise and if there's going to be lights, and it's more of a quality of life issue. I moved here 31 years ago, my wife Cynthia and I. We see turkeys in the field. We see, well, everybody sees deer in this town. We see the fox running around. You know, it's just going to change the dynamic. We understand that we're moving into a different time and a different age that we're living in now. But the one thing I did notice is we had 3 football games this year. And I love the football games. I love being a spectator. We're right there by the fence. But there was a total of 3 games, and one of the games, our team didn't even show up. Wayne was asking me over the fence, where's our team? So, you know, maybe the bigger guys can't play on this field or the existing field. But, you know, I've seen the clubs, the amount of teams diminish over the years. I just don't know if all this is necessary at this point, but that's just me.
kids that are in football, baseball, softball, the numbers, have they gone down?
Yeah, so
I came in late, I'm sorry, but.
Yep. Yeah, I could give you those numbers. Our football program is taken off over the last few years. Yes, we are merged with Montvale and Woodcliff Lake, but a majority of the numbers come from Hillsdale. We have our all-time high as far as football players. We have over 125 football players. We have over 100 cheerleaders. Unfortunately, we had to turn some cheerleaders down because we didn't have enough uniforms for them, or we could not accommodate them accordingly. And going back to your point, we can't play at Memorial because the games are no longer on Sundays. Okay, youth football now cannot even be played on Fridays. It has to be played on Saturdays. Okay, and the refs can't get there until after the high school game, so we have to play later on in the day, which brings us into the night. That's why we have to borrow the high school fields to accommodate that and the size of the fields. Okay, and it's been very good from the high schools, but we want our own home. We want to go back to Memorial. Okay, we want our own home, and that's it for football. I can't speak on behalf of the other, sports programs. I do see them getting bigger and bigger, but football is flourishing right now, and we just need to. The bottom line is we just need to do right by the kids. We definitely have to take everything into consideration, but you know what? Enough is enough. Let's do something, okay? And if we don't do it here, to everybody that just doesn't want it to happen, where are we going to do it, and when is it going to be done? My kids are never benefiting from it. But you know what? I don't care. You know why? Because I'm paying it forward. Let's do something for the kids.
I have a question for you. How many of those 125 are from Hillsdale?
I would say about 100.
Okay. Back when I coached, I had 56 kids on my team as peewees, juniors, and seniors. That was one team. And we made it work with Beechwood. All right, just a heads up. And granted, I'd love for this to happen for the kids, and I'd love to pay it forward. Do you live where we live with lights that's going to disturb your family? That's all I'm at.
I just wanted to add what I said.
Take a look at Beechwood. It's actually a safety issue right now. It's a safety issue.
Okay. I just want to go back to the point of safety for the children. It's a harder surface. You're playing football on that surface. They're going to hit it. They're hitting it like they're hitting concrete. I don't care how you soften it. There's more injuries on artificial turf than on grass. The football players have it. The baseball players have it. They have, any of the professional sports have more injuries when they are playing on artificial surfaces.
We'll do one at a time, folks. Yes, come on in.
Yes, I'm Cynthia. We live at 33. We're directly home plate. We're at home plate. All right. I know this field probably better than a lot of people in here, maybe the whole committee, because we walk it every night. And I don't know what the safety issues. My kids are both grown. They both played on this field. That is their backyard. It is my backyard. So I know we'll want to say, not in my backyard. No, I'm not going to say that. I know there has to be improvement. I'm all for change. Certain things we definitely have to look at, though. I just want to know, what's the safety issue? I could tell you about one safety issue that probably people don't know. I was asking Craig, what is the actual safety issue? To follow up. Okay, all right. I don't know what the safety issue, I don't know what he is meaning. I'll tell you about one safety issue. We found a couple starting to live in a dugout, and we reported it to the Neighborhood Watch. So my safety issue is, all of this, it happens, that's fine. I'm staying in Hillsdale. Is it going to be patrolled? We never, almost never, and I support the men in blue for sure. We almost never see anybody patrolling. Speed trap, yes, I see it all the time. I jog in the field every day. Is it going to be patrolled? We see a lot of litter, garbage, kids playing basketball at 2 a.m. and they're not kids from the neighborhood, if you know what I mean? Will it be safer?
So, as I said in the beginning, you will have at least 4 more times to speak on this. Right now, we really have no. Look, we can't say yes or no, or add more police or less police. The mayor and council will get that in about a month and a half or so. That's when they'll make all those decisions. So you'll have 4 more opportunities at least. Yes, sir.
James Lawler. I live about a block west of the field. Personally, I can't wait to see a project like this be put in place. I have 3 young kids, currently taking over baseball and softball, which I'm happy we mentioned softball. That's a big thing for us in town. This is exciting. This is what we want to see. To address safety, I know we live in New Jersey. We could all admit it's a liberal state. The DEP somehow has approved 1,000 turf fields in New Jersey. So I don't want to hear about safety and environmental issues when the state of New Jersey has no problem approving 1,000 of them. So let's try to get past that part of it. This is exciting for our children. This is something that is going to benefit the community. This is something that's going to affect your property values, your resale values, new families coming in. How many people have lived here for 30 years, bought their house for $200,000, it's now worth $850. Hey, you're welcome. You put in something like this, now the new family coming in can't wait. We have a new middle school. We have new fields, new amenities. We start looking at downtown in the future to update that. All of a sudden, you have a place that you love to represent, and that represents you. So for all the negativity, and I get it, it's very easy to be negative, and I get some of the concerns, I'm a block away. I have no problem with it, and I can't wait to see it. I hope we're playing baseball games at 8 o'clock at night. I hope I'm there on Friday night for football. I really do. I hope I'm watching 7th and 8th graders up and down that field under the lights with a press box and somebody calling the game. That's what I want to see. Thank you very much.
Let me see if there's anyone else. Anyone else before? Someone new? Let me just say. I'm new. You're new. I'm sorry.
I'm new. My name is George Hernandez, Clayton Street. Thank you guys very much for this. This is something that we've been waiting for a very, very long time. I think the design looks great. To speak on the design, my only concern is the parking. I think that the parking should be north, not on Hopper. I think that street, I've driven that street many a times. It is very narrow. I don't think it would be safe for visitors or for our residents. So if we can take that into consideration, that'd be great. The fact that we're going to have something, like James said, that's going to make this town better. Not that it needs it, but it can use it. Our kids can use it, especially my 2 kids. I coach with James, and there's nothing worse than having to tell my kids they can't play a game because the facilities aren't up to par. It rained, and they couldn't have a game. It's happened many a times. Football, the same thing. My children play football. It's a disgrace. Beechwood is an absolute disgrace. We are a laughing stock to our neighboring towns. All our neighboring towns have turf for the most part. So like James said, it's been approved before. We're not the first. We're not the last. And I can't wait for it to happen.
John, what are you doing here, buddy? I didn't see you. Nice to see you. Former police officer.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Mike and I used to work together in his, where he's the mayor of Montville. Anyway, one, I'm disappointed this isn't happening at Centennial so I can walk to it and continue to play with my daughter. I'm an 18U softball coach, so I see some high-level softball play, but I'll tell you from the safety perspective that these surfaces are far safer to play on from a high-level standpoint. The fields that you play on that are the more traditional surfaces are a little bit more difficult to play on when these kids hit the ball a lot harder. And I'm only going to speak to the softball end of it. The one, I'm going to echo a comment about the parking. I don't think the people on Hopper should have to endure that kind of traffic flow coming off of there. Hillsdale Avenue is the main thoroughfare through town. Seems to me that whatever you could do to make that happen seems to be a more effective and smarter approach. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Someone else?
Hi, I'm Julie Van Dyken. I'm Washington. I've lived here like 28 years, and they did try putting lights before when my kids were babies, and I was against it because of the noise and putting my kids to sleep. And I'll say this is the first year where there was a lot of noise at the football game. So for parents that have young kids, putting them to sleep with that kind of stuff going on, they should think about that. And definitely the parking is bad there because we have people racing down Washington as it is, going way more than 35 miles an hour. Hopper is an incredibly tiny street with no sidewalks. It's not safe at all. It looks like you're going to have to dig into the slope there, which is our town's sleigh riding hill. You're going to take that away. That is something kids have done forever. Where are they going to sleigh ride in town? I don't know.
It's only a 5-foot embankment, he said. Nobody goes sleigh riding on a 5-foot embankment.
What do you mean?
What I mean is that he said there's only 5 feet.
Well, where you're putting the parking lot.
Folks, let her finish, and I'll come to you. Let her finish. I wanted to get up and say, okay, I'm going to line with you.
Russell, quiet. What? But if you move the parking to the other side, you're moving the football field down closer to my house. And then I really, what are you going to do for sound? What are you going to do to protect? This is a very livable, people are living very close to this field. And it's also right across from a nature area. And like the other guy said, there are deer and foxes and there's animals living here. And we like nature. I don't want to live in a city. I didn't move to a city. Right? I am living in a very suburban area, and I like it to be suburban, natural grass. I don't know, the fact that you messed up, I didn't hear the beginning, but that somebody messed up Centennial, how do we know you're not going to mess this one up?
Fair enough. Thank you. Russell, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just underscoring what. Sir, get a mic. Come up. Mike, stand up. There you go. I was just underscoring what you were saying, Julie. They said that there was only going to be a 5-foot embankment in that southeast corner of the parking lot, but to me, it's like, I have arguably the best view of that corner of anybody. Russell Griffey, I live on Hopper Street, 15 Hopper Street. So I can see that whole parking lot area from my house. And like Julie was saying, people go sleigh riding down there. I wouldn't let my kids go sleigh riding down there because it was so steep. And when you said 5 feet, I rolled my eyes. I was like 20 in that corner.
Just so
unless you brought like 10,000 cubic yards of dirt to raise the parking lot.
Well,
that's all I want to say.
Yeah, with the balancing of the field when we go to design it for the grading, the goal is to use what we have out there and level it out as best we can. So it might be a little high on this side, a little low on that side, and at the end of the day, it's level. So the whole field may be lifted up a couple feet to tie out to different areas. We haven't done that exercise yet. That has not been performed yet. That would happen during the design phase. Right now, it was just the 2D version of what you see, and we're.
Will there be a 3D version?
There will be a 3D version. That's what we do. That's how you do the grading.
Let me see if anyone else. Any more questions before we do a second round? Yes, sir, you're new. Come on.
Eric Senegato. I just have a question regarding your process when it comes to rendering, and this is one 2D rendering. Is your process that you're going to create like multiple after this? Are you going to present this with 3? I was surprised to see like one rendering tonight.
There's been many iterations of this performed with the Recreation Commission and the committee that was involved. So this is not the first iteration of the whole thing. This is what is being presented today to everybody. What we're going to do is take all the comments and feedback that we've heard today, discuss it amongst ourselves, and then they'll give us direction on how to move forward with any changes, modifications, or whatnot. The big thing that I'm hearing right now is shifting the parking from south to north. let's see if we could fix that and move that and see what type of impact that has. You know, if we do that, that may mean we have less parking, totality. It may have more of an impact on the slopes on the west side of the field. We don't know yet. I'm just thinking out loud as this real-time feedback. But we'll look at all that and see what it is. I think that's the major one here for, let's say, like a redesign aspect for a concept plan. Other than that, all the other stuff that I'm hearing, we can work out during the design process.
Yeah, actually, I'm just going to stand up here. No, I'm going to go to the map, I guess, John. So I think when you're talking about moving the parking, two things I think that makes 100% sense, because if people back in and out of these spots right at the Hillsdale Avenue, that's going to cause a ton of traffic, right? Cars are backing in and out of here. It's going to slow down traffic on Hillsdale Avenue. If you bring this whole thing down, cut this off, you can still give people a buffer off of Washington Avenue, because I live on Washington Avenue. I still like to have a buffer there. Greenery, trees, whatever it is. You still have a buffer here, great. But if you make this lot bigger, then you wouldn't have the backups, I don't think, on Hillsdale Avenue. Plus, right now, this lot has two entrances. There's one on Hopper and there's one on Washington. The way this is set up, you only have the one, so that makes it even worse. And then, even if you do lose spots, which you're going to lose spots, I would think, but I think it makes everybody happier in terms of buffer. I live here. The overflow onto Washington Avenue parking happens anyway. People are going to park there to watch the games. This whole thing fills up. It happens. Just a thought. And then the other thing, just security-wise, like I said, I do live there. I walk my dog there every night about 11 o'clock. The stuff I've seen in that parking lot happen, the cops, I know you're here. I'm not trying to call you guys out. There's nobody ever there, ever. And I've seen stuff in that lot. So I don't know if there's going to be cameras for security that could relay back to the police station, that if they see stuff at night. I don't know why that hasn't been done now, but I think it would be a great opportunity to add that.
Good point. You got that, officer?
Your ruler.
Yes, sir.
I just had another question. Scoreboard?
Yes.
I didn't see that.
The scoreboard.
Those will be added.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe they're on there. I think we have 2 or 3 on there. All right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right by the basketball
That's gonna
court.
be much bigger, though.
Yeah.
A lot of lights.
And it would be a multi-purpose, multi-sport, so home, away, that type of stuff.
Yeah, we can, kind of cast the games there, too. That'd be great.
Jumbotron, there you go.
Yeah, Vince Collishaw. One thing I want to actually also iterate on is the idea of, especially in the fall, right, when you have fall baseball and you also have soccer, football, being able to share this field and play at the same time. Right now, just in terms of having the fences up where they are, that's right in the middle of the football field. So what Mike was saying earlier about being able to have 2 different sports being on the field at the same time, if that's possible to shift around the dimensions field-wise, that'd also be a big help. Just get more bang for your buck and be able to play multiple sports at the same time. Because right now, I don't know how permanent or how hard it is to take, the fences down to play football on, or to put them up to play baseball, etc. So, just food for thought.
Good. Thank you. Yeah. Any
Posted up to the borough website?
It's online now.
Okay, and can this be something that will scale up so
You
I can read it?
you can make it as big as you want. It's on the front page right now.
This is,
Yes.
I'm blind.
Hi, good evening, Ben Hanselin, Hillsdale, 22 Buena Vista Avenue. Just a couple of things. I think it's a great idea. I think this is a great idea for the kids. But as far as for maybe some of the things as far as moving dirt and adding in more trees might help mitigate some of the issues that folks are concerned about. Rather than taking dirt off-site, you can, maybe make the berms a little bit higher and then add in some more trees may be nice. But I think it's a wonderful idea. And, thank you for the opportunity to comment. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's one of the aspects that we do with a lot of our designs, is to try to use the soil that's on site and make landscape buffers around the perimeter. And by doing that, you're raising the grade around the perimeter, some feet, and then you put landscaping and trees over there. So then over time, those trees are getting much higher, and you're creating a landscape buffer along the way.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Hi, it's me again. I would just want to
piggyback off that idea to maybe use some of the dirt to create a dog park, because I know there's a lot of people who walk dogs through there, and that would be a nice compromise. And maybe get rid of the pickleball courts, since I don't see people playing pickleball there, and I see more dogs than pickleball players. But to consider our four-legged furry friends would be a big help as well. Yeah.
The dog park instead of pickleball would be phenomenal, because I can't tell you how many times we've had gifts and treats left for us on the baseball field, wet spots. So when the baseball comes up yellow, I think we know what that is. Hopefully it's not an adult, but you never know these days. So dog park would be great to keep the dogs off our ball fields, because this is not a park, it's an athletic complex, right? So let's honestly do a better job with that as well.
Good. Sure.
Sorry, one more quick question. Is there an email address so that we can submit comments electronically?
Yeah, if you want, you can email me directly or just write your email, this piece of paper there. Let's keep the money away for now. There's nothing. Okay, so my business cards are over there before you leave. They're in the back there. The mayor asked to touch just a bit on the funding of this. So we have $1.8 million in the field improvement fund. We will be using about $400,000 or so for Centennial Field, so we don't have to take a loan or anything. We'll be paying that in cash. That will bring us down to about $1.4 million. And your taxes went up in 2020 and 2021 by about 10%, about $500,000 a year. So we will be putting $500,000 every year into this fund to pay it off. So so if that's $6 million, we have to put down 5%, and then we will pay from the fund. If we can pay more toward the principal, we will. But the funding process. That too, you'll have the opportunity to speak in public on the record for or against. There'll be first reading, second reading, plenty of opportunities to speak on this. Good.
If everything goes well, what year are you planning to do it?
Next year.
What?
Next year. Like if we start in January with the actual process, it'll take us a month and a half. By then, we will have the design done. Yeah.
This January.
Yeah. Yeah. We're starting Centennial today. It'll be done in 3 weeks.
Oh, you're doing Centennial.
Yeah, so things move fast once we actually have the final plan that everyone is agreeing to, and we have the funding plan for it. Things move really fast.
So this field is still being used by the same kids as being used by now? Or who's going to be using it?
Who's going to be using it? We are going to have baseball, soccer, football, lacrosse, basketball, tennis, maybe. Yeah.
Charge other towns they can use it?
No, so if we get, so this will be paid by the taxpayers. We can use it any way we want. If you want to invite people from outside and have them pay for it, you can. If you want to say no, just for our own use, we can also. If you want to generate more revenue, we can ask more towns to join. If we see on the schedule there's blank spots, and the town wants more revenue, then we can have more towns. But it's all up to the town on how to do that. If we pay for it from the taxpayers, which that is the plan for now.
So when do you expect shovel to hit the earth?
I don't know. When do you think shovel?
We're good? So if we start design, let's say the beginning of the year, right? It's a few months for design. Permitting has to go through Bergen County Soil Conservation District, get their approval. That's about a 30-day window. Bidding process, well, we're doing a co-op, so that cuts down on the bidding process. You're probably in construction, I would say, late spring, early summer-ish. All things considered, you could probably have this done probably mid-fall. Probably what you're looking at, give or take. but that's just off the top of my head right now.
So next year.
You're welcome.
When is the next meeting to discuss this?
So next step is to take the feedback and take it back to the rec commission. That's also a public meeting, so we will let you know when they meet. December 2nd? Monday, December 2nd. And you can come and give your feedback on this again. And then we have a council committee meeting, which are 3 council members, myself and the rec and the chairperson here. They'll also fine tune it, and then we'll take it to the council. Then you can also speak to the council.
Is there any plans to do any type of traffic flow assessment? I mean, you're speaking of doing this so quickly, assessments and things take time to do that.
Okay.
They've obviously been doing this for many years, and we only heard about it today.
We just started. Yeah. You have a question? Hold on. All right, guys, hold on. Okay. You have a question, sir? Yeah. What's your name?
Dom Lawler.
Okay, come up. Ask your question. I like your hair. Can I do the same thing?
Too late for you. Thank you for all your help and trying to get this field to happen. This is very good. If this happens, this is going to be good for all the Little League and community.
Thank you. Let me see if anyone else, and I'll come back to you. Anyone else new? Yes, come on in. I'll come back to you.
I'm a very mathematical person. Hi, I'm Dina Pizzello. I live on Hillsdale Avenue. Is this multi-use field proposed because you can't fit a bigger football field without making all these sports on one playing field? It really doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't you just keep the 3 separate areas and make turf it all? I'm not understanding why the large one-purpose field.
So it's laid out like this to get all the sports on because
You wouldn't be able to play all the sports at the same time, so.
that's not the purpose of it.
It's a multi-purpose field.
Yes. All the different sports play at different times.
Me again. What's the plan for the spring sports during construction and men's league?
We will have to find you different fields. We'll talk to the surrounding towns. I know the mayor of Montvale. They have a couple of really good fields. We can get you there. Let's rent that field yours and cheap. I promise you that. So yeah, so we will have to find the construction. Question, ma'am? Oh, sorry. Oh, right.
Hi, Frank Pizzella, 247 Hillsdale Avenue. I served on council for 12 years, so I know what elected officials and people who volunteer go through in order to get things done. I think this is a great idea. I think that the kids need a place to play. I mean, I moved to Hillsdale 20 years ago, and my son played all kinds of sports, and my daughter plays tennis and is in high school right now. I want to speak for my neighbors in the area. So, I mean, I live right here. So I'm not as affected as other people. And I think everybody's been very open-minded, that being my neighbors that have been here. I understand the strong desire to give the kids a place to play. And I think that Hillsdale deserves to have a place for the kids to go. I've always thought that. There's a couple of comments that I want to make, and I would implore the engineers to really focus on the fact that, you know, people do live around here, and we've gotten used to living in an area that doesn't have lights, that doesn't have a lot of kids there all the time, that doesn't have a parking lot here. I mean, we just got used to, like I said, I moved here 20 years ago, and I was just excited to have my son play across the street, and I would sit in the bleachers. I just implore the engineers to utilize the different methods that are available to you, whether it be buffering and that sort of thing, to not make it such a dramatic change for the people that have lived there for the longest time, while also giving Hillsdale what it needs, a place for the kids to play. So buffering is a really great way to sort of keep things quiet, keep lights on the field. I would also ask you if you can, because, you know, I have a whole bunch of neighbors here, right? I mean, and right now they're looking at a parking lot that's maybe that big. So the people living here, they're going to stare at a parking lot, which is very different than what they're staring at now. So I would try really hard to figure out a way to buffer this parking lot so that the people across from it maybe can get more privacy than what they have right now, while at the same time you still have your parking lot. The same thing with the neighbors here. Now, all these neighbors over here, right now they're looking at like empty space. I mean, there's the football field here, but it doesn't really get played on, and you're going to be adding quite a bit of things here. And look, I'm not saying don't add them. I mean, my son loves basketball. I mean, he's like, Dad, don't say anything against basketball when you go up there, because I want to play when I come home. But, you know, these people are used to sort of looking at an empty field, and now they're going to have to get used to looking at something different. And when I moved here, I realized that one day the field would turn into something different than what I originally came and sat outside and with my son and bought my house, which is the Little Cape Cod, you know, and I never moved. But, you know, all these people around here, this is a neighborhood, and all these people around here, they all kind of got used to it. We all raised our kids here, and, you know, we're all looking to hopefully get a good return on our funds, so on our money and our investments. So when you're doing this, I understand the zeal for wanting to have this in Hillsdale and wanting the kids to have a place to play, and nobody understands that more than me. Just also keep in mind that, you know, there's a whole bunch of people around here that kind of got used to it the way that it is. And doesn't make it better, doesn't make it worse. Just when you're thinking about these things, you know, think about the fact that these people have stared at nothing for 20 years. And now they're going to be staring at a home. So again, a buffer. You know, it's very important to sort of come up with these ways of sort of keeping things not as invasive as they would be. And I'm sure you understand that. But I would implore the mayor and council and the rec commission, if you're going to spend any more money on it, at least spend it on buffering so that the neighborhood in the area doesn't get negatively impacted. And so you still get the value of the field and the use of the field, and it's a great place to come. But at the same time, the people that live around it, they also get the benefit of what they've had for all these years, seeking a return on their investment. I mean, I think this is a nice idea that you guys are doing this. I understand why it couldn't have been done on Centennial. And I hope that this or a version of this gets put through. I would really want to reiterate that all these people around here, and even people that are a little further out, they've gotten used to one specific thing. And so you're asking them to now get used to something very different. So please, just consider the fact that everybody around there has... That's it.
That's fair. That's fair. Yes.
Hi, Laura Jones. I live on East Liberty. I've lived here since 1983. So I've played on these fields as a child. They're almost exactly the same as they were. So while I know I do truly understand growing up and wanting the town to be as it was, but there is also that part that we have to evolve, and the surrounding towns have evolved. I have single-handedly heard people
from other towns discussing our fields. I work in the town, surrounding town. I'm a teacher in the surrounding area. I coach. So while I do truly understand being nostalgic and loving our town as it is, there is also that aspect of evolving.
What's your name?
No, Hernandez.
What's your question?
I don't have a question. Okay. This would be good if we do this because, like, we were supposed to first Nono Ratty, and then, like, all the fields were all wet, and I was sad because we had to wait, like, 2 weeks to play for it.
Thank you. Thank you. We have time for a few more. Any more questions?
I have a question again, maybe because I came late. Is it the work that's being done in Centennial? Obviously, we have a 60-90 field, there's a 50-70 field there, right? So is the work that's being done there now not going to address the baseball issues at Centennial? And is that really why we're pushing this now with baseball fields as well? Or
No, we were just looking for one turf field, and this was.
So we're just throwing it on there because we can?
Yes. Yep. Yep. Mayor, do you want to say anything before we close?
No, I thank everybody for coming. This is a great opportunity to get feedback, and I'm looking forward to the process. So thank you, everybody. All sides with all comments. It's going to be really helpful.
All right. Anything else before we close? This was very helpful. Yes, sir.
I have a question for the engineer. Just want, there you go. So I've been involved 10 years advocating for. You can't give me this mic.
No, just put this one in front
I
of your
did.
mouth.
There you go. Okay. So yeah, advocating for us to spend money. Our fields have been horrible. I'm all for that. The question technically here I have, and I just want to make sure through the engineers, this becomes these back-to-back sharing the outfields is, I've found over years long background in baseball, that's a poor design to go. I just want to make sure we can't play softball and baseball at the same time by this design. Is that correct?
You can.
You can?
Yes.
There's enough room
Yes.
for us to
You can.
play.
Yep.
Okay, that is designed. So when we have baseball season, we're going to put temporary fences up between the
you
two
can put
fields?
you can put temporary fences up between the two fields, and that'll be your home run fence for both fields.
Okay.
And you can play the 40-60 on one side and either 40-60 or 50-70 on the other side.
All right, that's scheduling problem. But
Yeah, it's a
men's
scheduling
softball couldn't. We'd be too, it looks to me to be too
men's
small
softball,
for men's softball.
I would. I'm not scheduling it, but for men's softball, they hit the ball a little further.
Right.
So it would probably make sense